I have to credit cannabis use for my success because I don't think I would be as successful in my career, have made all this money, been able to buy property, buy a house, do all this stuff if it wasn't for cannabis, because I'm a high anxiety person. Can be irritable and I'm an insomniac. So if I wasn't using cannabis all day, I'd probably be flipping out on people, damaging relationships, way more sleep issues than I already have.
Yeah.
And also I used it for motivational purposes too, which there's always this stigma that people who smoke and then go sit on the couch and be lazy. I'll literally be like, I'm not motivated at all. Let me smoke.
Right.
So I do get motivation to go do something. So just, it's always bothered me that I'm a professional. I can go to college, do all this scholastic, successful things, and then I still have people in my family, friends, community looking down on me for smoking weed.
Right.
How is that fair? So that always bothered me, and so now I'm very adamant about like professional, successful, very organized alpha people smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah.
And that needs to be accepted and not something that's so like taboo and like, does it really, like.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm big about now. But what's happening nowadays, and like I was saying, the cannabis landscape keeps changing, and so now that it's all accepted, it's great. There's a lot more people coming out on the internet and online and everywhere saying, "Oh, I smoke and cannabis use."
Elon Musk smoke weed a lot?
Yeah. Well, he smoked in a Joe Rogan podcast, and it kind of like went viral. I don't think he really is a high consumer,
but he does seem like the kind of person that would be like super intense and super crazy high energy.
Yeah.
That he would kind of need something to kind of mellow him out a little bit, you know?
Yeah, probably benefit him.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson smokes weed.
He did.
Mike Tyson?
Yeah, he has a podcast called Hot Boxing.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So.
And Tyson Ranch Farms. He's a whole brand.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that.
But anyway, but sorry, back to the point I was making of the culture and the landscape keeps changing. So I think it's so great that people are starting to accept it more and more and be more open about it, and it's more of a normal thing.
Right.
But with that, there's also like all these influencers that are all just naked online with cannabis and aren't actually in the industry and getting a lot of notoriety and admiration for being cannabis pioneers. And that's something that just kind of bugs me a little bit.
Back to fake people.
Things I will be salty about that. No, just because it's like I said, there's people who have been in this for over 10 years, taking a lot of felony risk and misdemeanor risk every single day of their lives. And all they got for it was maybe a pat on the back or a charge, you know, and then they kept going. So there's all these girls nowadays who just take a bunch of pictures in their bra and underwear, but they're dabbing or smoking a bong, and then that's what the cannabis industry is now. That's what it's turning into, is like it like the alcohol industry, but just the over sexualized, overdone marketing side of it.
It's funny, a couple things you said. So it's kind of like UFC fighting, because when it first started, they used to fight for like 15 minutes and beat the crap out of each other, and they got paid like $100, and or some of them just did it for the love of the fighting. And you know, like the UFC got sold to the Fertitta brothers by the Gracie brothers for $2 million. The Fertitta brothers turned it into a $4 billion just what it is now, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure all those first fighters are like, dude, we were freaking killing ourselves.
Right.
Paved the way for these guys to come now and making all this
similar
money.
analogy.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Right? And then you mentioned alcohol. I believe alcohol is a worse drug, or whatever you want to call it, than cannabis. There's domestic violence, there's, you know, vehicular manslaughter, there's people no one gets high and goes and says, I want to go kill somebody, or I want to go beat somebody up, or I'm going to go get in a car and, you know, cause this huge car accident and kill a bunch of people, right? But because it's legal, right?
Yeah.
More people die from from cigarettes and alcohol every single year. I don't know if I've ever read or heard or saw anything that somebody died from smoking weed. Like,
yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think I've ever seen a study that smoking weed, you died from it. Like, so there's lung cancer from cigarettes, there's liver cancer from alcohol, there's domestic violence, there's abuse. There's all, again, I don't smoke weed or anything like that, but I like truth. I'm a big person about truth, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a big person about being woke and like learning about why things are the way they are, right? So, I just want to spread the truth. Like, the truth is cannabis is not, it's not what it's demonized to be, right? Mm-hmm. And I also get really pissed off when I discover something that I've been lied to about my whole life, right? Mm-hmm. And like, there's a lot of baby boomers that won't even take cannabis because it's so indoctrinated in their mind when they're sick, they're hurting.
That makes sense, though, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but think of if you've been told something engraved into your mind, in your reality, your whole life, and then at 90 years old, someone comes along and says, you know what, that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's false. Wouldn't you completely resist that?
Yeah, I'm not blaming
just be like,
them.
You're right. I've probably been lied to my entire life.
Yeah, I would hate that.
Yeah, I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying, like, it sucks for them because, like,
it's sad.
This industry has programmed these people when all they have to do is maybe take a little bit of CBD or whatever, and maybe their pain goes away, or maybe they survive a little bit longer.
I heard an analogy the other day that was funny, but it was so true. They said putting cannabis in the same category as heroin is the same. Schedule 1 drugs. It's in the same drug category. Putting them as the same category as heroin is the same as putting a Nerf gun in an assault rifle category. AK-47 with a Nerf gun is like having cannabis crazy. With heroin. And I was like, that's a good analogy.
That's dangerous. You know what I mean?
Very
and this
dangerous.
whole demonization of the cannabis industry has caused a lot of people to a lot of devastation. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm glad it's waking up. I'm glad it's now. Well, you probably the OGs probably don't really like the mainstream of it now. Yeah. But let's talk about, you have a cannabis company now.
Yeah.
So now you're one of the owners of the industry, right?
Yes. Well, I started doing all this public speaking, and I was a sales rep for other CBD and THC companies, and everyone thought they were all my brands.
They're like, you're so awesome. When did you start this company? You're like,
I was like, no, I'm the rep.
Yeah. Oh.
So pretty much I was repping for all these other brands, and I was like, why do I not have my own? I'm capable of running this and doing this, and just went with it.